Jesus. This has been the best.
It's been incredible.
Southwest Believers Convention. I've been to all but one.
You missed one, actually.
I did.
Wow.
I don't even want to tell you the story. It's such a sad story of why I missed it, but I didn't miss anymore.
Wow. Well, listen, we've got 10 minutes to hang with everyone before the service tonight, which is going to be so good. Creflo Dollar is preaching. I'm very excited about that. And of course, we're going to have incredible worship, which every night has been so anointed. The teams here, every element of the service has been so good. But I'm excited to have you here and just talk a little bit about things that only you can talk about. Being part of this family, being here, only missing one. What is one of your earliest memories of the Southwest Believers Convention?
Oh my goodness. One of my earliest memories was, I was still in high school when we started these. And so that was a long time ago. So I remember, though, a few years in, pushing my kids around on a stroller. I definitely remember that. I remember just being here, being in the Word. Early on, man, we had Brother Hagin here.
Wow.
We had Hilton Sutton here. I mean, the dream team that came together later with Brother Jerry and Jesse and Creflo and Mom and Dad, that was just that became such a solid, but for a long time we had different speakers like we do now.
Yeah.
We had different ones but I don't know. I think I just have years and years worth of notebooks.
That's cool.
And words.
Wow.
It's interesting. Sometimes I'll go pull one up and I'm like, man, Lord, you told me that again yesterday.
That's wild. That would be really cool to go back through.
There's been great things. I've had kind of some hard things happen. Two of the conventions, it was serious. My kids were in, Jenny was in a car wreck on Monday.
Oh my goodness.
And they said she was going to die. She went to the hospital, and I'm getting dressed for church to come.
Wow.
And I get this call. I don't know, somehow it broke my heart that they had her listed as baby Jane Doe.
Whoa,
and
so she was a baby.
Was gonna die. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
And but within 4 days, she was here.
Wow.
In a full body cast, but
oh my
she was
goodness,
here.
Seriously?
She was on her way to healing. In 4 weeks, she was completely out of the cast. I mean, God just did a miracle, even that she's alive. And you see that little girl all this week. You've been seeing Jenny talking about missions, talking about what KCM is doing with missions. So
it's really cool. It's so neat. I mean, you were saying, the Sevilles, and now we've got the next generation, and even the next generation that's still here, and it's such a testament to God's hand on this ministry and the truth and the reality that this is a move of God. It really is. There's no other way that a ministry could have lasted this long, that a conference could be this successful for this amount of time, if it wasn't the real deal. And you guys really are that.
Well, I was going to say, too, what I really love about this meeting it's more than a meeting.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I love about Southwest Believers Convention are the relationships.
Yeah.
The relationships we formed with partners. I love the relationships, like we have all these, sometimes these 3 or 4 women will come they've been coming for 30 years.
Yeah, and they met here, and they just meet here every year.
Yes.
Yeah, I know some of them.
People
yes.
that met here or came on their honeymoon.
Have you guys ever done a singles thing here?
Okay.
I'm just saying, I feel like that needs to be a thing, because I have some people that I would maybe,
Maybe it needs to come back. You need to talk to Courtney about that.
Okay, Courtney, we got to talk about that.
It works. Listen to this. My mom, for about 3 years, she said, we've got to do a singles thing.
Yes.
We've got to do a singles thing. So we did it a couple of years. At that singles thing, one of those singles things, my daughter, Rachel, met her husband, Caleb.
No.
Yes, and so I have lots of grandbabies that came out of our singles.
Because of that?
Yes. Yeah, so maybe we need to do it again.
I think we do. Listen, Adalis Shuttlesworth said yesterday that, when you're dating, and actually Courtney had asked her, and I mentioned this earlier, Courtney asked her, if you're dating someone, how spirit-filled do they have to be? Do they have to be crazy on fire for Jesus? Can you kind of get him there, bring him to church with you, that kind of thing? And she said, bring him to a Holy Ghost meeting and see how he reacts. So listen, you got that checked off the list. If you meet them here, okay, you're attending Southwest Believers Convention. He gets that part at least. Yeah. And that's a pretty big part to get. So I love this.
I've been single for over 10 years now. And I made a decision when I was going through all that,
Yeah.
this is never happening again.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I would not get in a relationship with anybody that was not a worshiper. I mean, I don't have time.
No.
I don't have time to raise somebody, fix somebody. I don't think any of us have time to do that anymore. But like we need to be able to do fully what God's called us to do. So I decided I'm going to watch them worship. I'm going to see if they worship for more than a week.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
6 months. You wait as long as you want, but I'm thinking 2 years is not too long.
I want to see it
the rest of your life.
Yes.
But seriously, you can't fake that.
No, you can't.
And, you might want to be on the lookout for the narcissist that looks great.
Yeah.
Man, they look like they're everything that's on your prayer list, but you got to be careful because the devil knows what's on that prayer list too.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got off on all this.
Yeah, I don't know either, but someone needs to hear it.
Bring them to Southwest, kick them off right.
All right.
Yeah, I get some amens out there.
Come on. All right, sisters. There we go. We got some amens. I love it. Okay, so what is one, I'm sure being here so many years, God has done already so many miracles this year. Is there one looking back over the past conferences that has stood out to you?
Oh gosh, there's been so many.
I'm sure.
We've had people healed of cancer.
Wow.
We've had people, healing. Of course, we would hear the testimonies. And I just want to encourage you to join us for healing school because you are don't let the school part throw you off. You're going to get healed, but you're going to hear the word about healing. And it just belongs to you. Dad said healing is your property. Jesus paid for it. And so when we do testimonies, you hear so many.
Yeah.
But I guess my own daughter's healing coming out of the hospital was my favorite.
Yeah, I guess that would be a memorable moment for sure.
But when we're in children's, I haven't been in the main arena very much because I've usually done children's ministry. And we do healing. We call it a party, though. We have a healing party.
I love that.
And so the kids have the teaching on healing, and then they get hands laid on them. And the thing I love is bringing like 7 or 8 of those over. And I'm telling you, we had
testify in the main service.
She had hands laid on. I laid hands on her for dyslexia. And that little girl opened her eyes, and you could see it on her face. And she goes, everything just went. I'm not quoting her right, but everything just went right. All the letters went right. She could see everything normal, everything straightened out. She was healed.
Childlike faith. That's incredible.
It was amazing.
And I love how invested you guys are in the next generation. That is so important. It is so cool to even just see in the recaps that we've been showing every day, seeing the footage of the kids worshiping and the teens worshiping and how they are not forgotten. This isn't just a conference for the moms or the dads or the singles or whatever. It is for your whole family. And even if your whole family can't be here, what you get here, you can take home and you will take home. That anointing will follow you. It's so, so good. So we've got 2 minutes until we kick off our evening service tonight, our evening session. We're so excited. I know everyone, you guys are in the arena. You're waiting and you're probably anticipating a move of God, as is everyone at home. Will you pray us in to the service tonight? I always like to say a prayer as we head in and just set the spiritual atmosphere for the evening.
And before I pray this prayer, I just want to acknowledge that sometimes when you're listening to Creflo, he's been through so much with the Lord to gain some things that he didn't know, we didn't know, just some truths that are so deep about what God wants to do in us. And so sometimes you have to really listen, but I want to encourage you, lean in and really hear what he's saying, because he's got a word to set us free. The things he's been ministering are so deeply life-changing. So they're opening our heart right now to hear. Father, we just thank you for the gift that you sent us tonight in Creflo Dollar.
Amen.
We receive it by faith. We believe that you are talking through him to us. We believe and receive a word from you tonight through him. And Lord, in the name of Jesus, we do what only we can do for ourselves, and that is open up our hearts and have an ear to hear. And that means to have an ear that listens, that receives, and that believes and takes action. So we receive that listening ear, the ear to hear, like you called it in the word. So we just receive that tonight. We receive a miracle happening in our life, on the inside, our families, our ministries, our business. Thank you that you're taking care of things at home beyond what we could ask or think. We just receive your love tonight in Jesus' name.
All right. Are you ready to go in and worship?
Oh, I am. Let's worship.
Let's go.
As many as 10,000 believers have come to Fort Worth for the Believers Convention. It's sponsored by the Kenneth Copeland Ministries. There are visitors from all 50 states and from a dozen foreign countries as well. The parking lot of the Tarrant County Convention Center has become a small village, and the inhabitants have one thing in common. They believe.
We came from Ohio for this. We came to get what's here. It's vital.
Did you ever think you'd be spending your vacation in Fort Worth, Texas?
No, not really. They're hungry for the Word, and the world is hungry for the Word, and this is where they get it.
This year's live coverage is expected to reach 1 million people or more, but some conventioneers don't think watching it on television could compare. As one very enthusiastic listener put it, coming to Fort Worth for this event is probably the next best thing to going to heaven.
There is a place every heart longs for. Not simply a destination, but a place where faith awakens, where heaven feels near, where hope is restored. Home. There's something special about coming home. Not because the house looks the same, but because the moment you arrive, you remember who you are. You remember the moments that changed you, the voices that encouraged you, the people who walked beside you. And even after all this time, it still feels familiar. Our home is where faith is strengthened, where hope is restored, where hearts are reminded that God's promises still stand, where generations come together around His Word, where faith fills the atmosphere. There is a reason we tell the stories, a reason we remember the moments, the breakthrough, the healing, the unexpected provision. Today, we become part of that same story. Not beginning something new, but stepping into something eternal. This is more than another convention. This is more than another gathering. This is a homecoming.
My soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
Come on, stand to your feet. How many victorious believers are in the house tonight? Hey! When all I see is the battle, you see my victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see the mountain move. And as I walk through the shadow, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. Come on, sing. So when I fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And every fear I lay at your feet, I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs battle belongs to you.
Tonight, we want to receive something tonight. I pray into the atmosphere. Spirit of God, you're here. You have all authority. I pray over my heart and mind. I'm healed by your stripes. Your blood declares that I am free. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray, calling on the power of heaven. I proclaim every weapon formed against me must break. In the mighty name of Jesus, I draw a permanent boundary line. The enemy has no right to come near my family. No scheme could ever undo that plan. No matter the circumstance, the cross has sealed my destiny. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray, holding on the power of heaven. I proclaim every weapon formed against me must break. In the mighty name of Jesus, in the mighty name of Jesus, I know all the power of fear and darkness must go. 'Cause every key to every victory I hold in the mighty name of Jesus. And I will not fear, I will not fear when the enemy comes near. On the doorframe of my life is the blood of Jesus Christ. I will not fear, I will not fear. There's an army of angels here. I'm protected on all sides by the blood of Jesus Christ. I will not fear, I will not fear when the enemy comes near. On the doorframe of my life is the blood of Jesus Christ. I will not fear, I will not fear. There's an army of angels here. I'm protected by the blood of Jesus Christ. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray, calling on the power of heaven. I proclaim every weapon formed against me must break. In the mighty name of Jesus, in the mighty name, in the mighty name, in the mighty name. I know all the power of fear and darkness must go. 'Cause every key to every victory I hold in the mighty name, in the mighty name of Jesus, in the mighty name, in the mighty name of Jesus, in the mighty name of Jesus, in the mighty name. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Mountains are still being moved. Strongholds are still being loose. God, we believe Yes, we can see that wonders are still what you do. Bodies are still being raised. Giants are still being slain. God, we believe. Yes, we can see it. Wonders are still what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and
Jesus be the name ever on my lips. It's sweeter every time that I call on it. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name that makes me cry holy. There is no other name. There is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus, you're worthy. You have been the friend who never left. I won't forget your faithfulness. Jesus be the name ever on my lips. It's sweeter every time that I call on it. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name that makes me cry holy. There is no other name. There is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus, your word. Oh, there's just something about your name. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name that makes me cry holy. There is no other name. There is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus, you're worthy. You're worthy, Lord. Tell him how good he is. Tell him how grateful he is. The name of Jesus. Oh, we cry, holy, holy you are. There's no one like you, Lord. Jesus, your name is like the morning light, the one the darkness can't deny, the resurrection and the life. Jesus, Jesus, your name can save, your name can heal, your name can make the storm be still. You never fail, you never will. Jesus, Jesus, the bread of life, who cared for us, the wounded and the worthy one. Jesus, the King, who overwhelmed the grave, the Lord who will forever reign and reign above all the name. Jesus, oh Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory. Oh, Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Cry out, Jesus. Oh, Jesus be the name. Be the name. Jesus be the name. All the glory. Oh, Jesus be the name. Jesus be the sweet name of Jesus. We cry Abba, the only one. Sing it all, sing it all. Only you are, only you are. Come on, sing a song to him tonight. Let him sing to you tonight. Jesus, oh Jesus, oh Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Cry out to him. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory.
Oh, my words fall short. I've got nothing new. How could I express oh my gratitude? I could sing these songs as I often do. Every song must end. So I throw up my hands all that I have to say, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I've nothing else fit for the King except for a heart singing hallelujah. I've got one response. I've got just one move. With my arms stretched wide, God, I'll worship you. And so I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah. throw up my hands. Cause all that I have is there. And I know it's not much, but I'm nothing else fit for a king, except for a heart singing. Hallelujah. Singing, oh, oh, singing, come on, my soul. Come on, my soul. Oh, come on, my soul. Don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song. 'Cause you've got a light inside of those lungs. Oh, come on, my soul. Come on, my soul. Lift up your song inside of those lungs. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will say. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. Come on. One more time. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. Great are you, Lord. Give it praise. Hallelujah. And would you welcome Kenneth Copeland?
Shout amen, somebody. Woo. You are really looking good to me tonight. Praise God. Shake hands with several people and tell them how much you love them and glad they're here, and then you can be seated. Praise God. Father, we thank you tonight. We praise you, O Lord of hosts, for all of the wonderful things that have happened in this last 46 years in this building. And we worship you and praise you, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. 2026 Southwest Believers Convention Super Kid. Praise God. No, not just ordinary kid. Super Kid. Psalm 78:4 NLT. We will not hide these truths from our children. We will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about His power and His mighty wonders. Tuesday evening, 243. Wednesday morning, 207. Wednesday afternoon, 253. Summary. Super Kids sessions focused on helping children listen to Jesus, recognize Him as the Good Shepherd, and respond to His love and His forgiveness. Isn't that good? Then Tuesday night session, 243 children, with Commander Kelly teaching from passages Psalm 23 and John 10. A total of 105 children responded to the altar call to grow closer to Jesus and to follow His voice. Wednesday morning session centered on the parable of the prodigal son, emphasizing God's compassion and readiness to welcome people back. After the altar call, 65 children chose to come back home to Jesus. And Wednesday afternoon, Pastor Morgan Dufresne taught on obedience, honor, and the principles that protection to individuals and families. Praise God. Now then, 1440, as of July the 29th, students were challenged to move from simply attending church to living a lifestyle of authentic worship, surrender, and devotion to God. Pastor Brian Barcelona emphasized the power of praise and worship to strengthen faith, draw students closer to God, and impact others. Now that's important. Now listen to this. 134 students received prayer for deliverance from fear and anxiety. That's good. Joshua Broom reminded students that their identity is not defined by past mistakes, but by God's grace, love, and redemption. Panels on purity, temptation, relationship, community gave students practical biblical tools for making wise choices and building God-centered relationships. Pastor Alex, didn't read that, Bose challenged students to stop playing church. Yeah. I'm going to read that again. To stop playing church and live out genuine faith through obedience, holiness, and reverence for God. And Lorenzo Cordero and Coy Ard encouraged students to grow deeper in their relationship with God, live boldly for Christ, and trust His purpose. Breakout sessions equip students in worship, creativity, discipleship, and purity. 963 students with strong encouragement in worship, teaching, prayer, and practical faith development. I told you we weren't babysitting. I mean it, you know. Now, this is good. Total registered 6,532. Main registered 5,562, includes 893 pastors and ministries or churches. 1440, 531. Super Kids, 439. And states registered, including Washington, D.C., 50. You remember how we used to go through? Has anybody here from that? They're all here. And Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Now, these are registered countries. Afghanistan, Algeria, Australia, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Faroe Islands, France, Germany, Ghana, Greece, Honduras, Hungary, India, Kenya, Latvia, Luxembourg, Mexico, New Zealand, Nigeria, Norway, Pakistan, Peru, Republic of South Korea, Singapore, South Africa, Suriname, Sweden, Netherlands, Philippines, U.S. Virgin Islands, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States of America, USA, minor outlying islands, and Venezuela. Come on, you can do better than that. I have known this man for a long time. Long time. Their family and our family have been connected together to the point where we are really family. And Creflo and I were reminiscing, and one of his little girls came in. I was preaching there in his church. She said, "What are you doing?" "I'm getting ready for church." "Are you preaching in my daddy's church?" I said, "Yes, I am." And when he comes out of here, he'll finish that story. Now, I want you to watch a little video before Cref comes out here, please.
Saying for years that I preach like Brother Copeland and I look like
I
her.
wanted you to see that now.
You forgot to shave. It just we are equipped right now with the evidence to give demonstration of his likeness in everything we do. Not one day, not next week. Right now, you are fully equipped to give attractive evidence. And I mean to tell you, this world needs some evidence of who you really are.
Creflo Dollar.
I gotta find out where I put that wig.
He came out there, and everybody was like that. He said, "Well," he said, "I preach like my papa, but I look more like my mama." Oh, now finish the story about your little baby girl.
Okay, so she saw this white man in the house. And she was told not to go up the steps. So she eased up the back stairs.
Yes, she did.
She peeked over there. She said, "What are you doing?"
Actually, I was putting my towel on.
You was putting your towel and everything. And you said, "Getting dressed." And she said, "For what?" She says, "I'm getting ready to go preach." "Are you going to preach at my daddy's church?"
Yes.
And they carried on a conversation before I realized she had snuck up there and she was messing with the anointing for that night.
I didn't know she was in there. And I was tying my tie, and she, "What are you doing?" Well, what's she doing today?
She is a marketing advertising exec.
Praise God.
Yeah, and she's doing very well. Lives in Miami, Florida.
Yes, sir.
And so we have a lot of reasons to go down there and work on our tan.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
Yes, sir. Oh,
well,
man.
do what you do best.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Praise God.
You can be seated. Tonight I have the honor of receiving tonight's offering. And I want to share something with you that will really, yes?
We will definitely go well over the budget tonight.
We will definitely go well
right
over
there.
the budget tonight. The prophet said we're going over the budget tonight, so get ready. Let's go over the budget tonight. Amen? If you would, go with me to the book of Genesis chapter 39 and then Galatians chapter 6. Genesis chapter 39 and Galatians chapter 6. I want to show you something that I think will really minister to you as you prepare to give, because we want the Holy Spirit to be a part, well, not a part, but actually to begin to direct our giving. Verse 2 says this, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hands. Now, when you look at, first of all, the word prosper, prosperity is more than just money. It includes money, but it's more than just money. Prosperity literally deals with wholeness. That means you're going to be whole in every arena of your life. You're going to be whole financially. You're going to be whole where your physical body is concerned. You're going to be whole where relationships are concerned. And so once you begin to understand that, the Bible says here about Joseph that he was a prosperous man because the Lord was with him. I've come to understand that God's presence is my prosperity. Let me say that again. God's presence is my prosperity. Because I need his presence and I need his wisdom. If y'all have that graphic on the pie, put it up, because you've got to become holistic in your thinking where this is concerned. This is prosperity. It includes finances. It includes health. It includes joy. It includes your identity, your peace. You take one slice out, it will affect your wholeness. You can have a lot of money but be dying of cancer. You're just a man with a lot of money, but you're sick. You're not whole. When you're prosperous, you're whole. There's nothing missing and nothing broken in your life because you're prospering in your physical body. You're prospering in your joy. You're prospering in your very purpose and prospering relationships. There are some people who, you know, they got a lot of money and they can go buy a $5,000 suit, but they don't have anybody around to say, you sharp. Or they can afford a $1 million car, but nobody wants to ride with you. Or, you know, you can have a lot of money in the bank and you know, at the same time, you know, people are just not interested in having a relationship with you. Well, see, that's why it says it's got to be more than money. And if you really want to prosper, whether it's financial prosperity or in any of these areas, you've got to understand that God's presence is your prosperity. Right as you sit tonight, you need his presence and his wisdom to begin to lead and to guide you, to begin to show you what to give. His presence and his wisdom and his voice will begin to show you what to give, how to give, when to give, and the giving it'll go past even the offering. It'll be giving when you go to a restaurant and there's a lady there and the Spirit of God puts it on your heart. I want you to be generous with this lady right here. And you reach in your pocket, you pull $200 out, more than what the bill is, and her whole life has been changed because of the Spirit of God that's present with you. Are you listening to me? And so we want the Spirit of God to lead you in your giving. We want the presence of God to be welcomed and depended on. I don't want to just depend on God's presence to heal me and to deliver me. I want to depend on his presence to show me how to give, to get me to a place where I understand that I carry somebody's supply. And when you give tonight, the supply that you have, when you give, you're going to enable people all around the world to be blessed because of what you do in this ignited moment. And I believe the Holy Spirit will ignite this moment. I believe when you walk with the Holy Spirit, you've got to be ready to move on the moment he speaks to you. Not thinking about it. You know, he told you what to give and the spontaneity that's necessary to walk with the Holy Spirit. If you're going to walk with the Holy Spirit, you have to be ready to be spontaneous. The Spirit of God is speaking to you. I'm going to do that, praise God. You will no longer negotiate with doubt. Are you listening to me? You're no longer negotiating with doubt. And I'm telling you, when you begin to allow his presence in your life, like it was said about Joseph and David and others, that God's presence, they prospered because God's presence, they prospered. He was a prosperous man because the Lord was with him. I believe the Lord is with you tonight. In fact, I believe you brought him here with you. Why? Because he lives on the inside of you. And when you woke up this morning, you didn't have any inclination that there was distance between you and the Father. You know he lives in there and you trust him. There's no pressure in giving. All you need to do is respond. Respond. Now let me show you this. Let's look at Galatians chapter 6 and 9 in the Passion Translation. It really nails something home here. God's presence is my prosperity. Praise God. Look at this. He said, and don't allow yourselves to be weary in planting good seeds. For the season of reaping, the wonderful harvest that you've planted is coming. Now, you didn't get that. Don't allow yourselves to be weary in planting good seeds. Don't get tired of planting good seeds. For the season of harvesting, the season of reaping, the wonderful harvest that you have planted, it's coming. I said, it's coming. You got to understand, you look at your financial situation and it's catching up with the finished work of prosperity. You're not going to prosper, you're already prosperous, and everything else is catching up with what you already are. And so get yourselves ready, because that season is upon you right now. And I need you to operate in faith and say, I am going to give as a participation with what I already believe I am. I am participating in the abundance that I already have. I am participating in the prosperity I already have. I am participating with the presence of the Lord in my life. And so, God, I trust you. Show me what to do. I'll not negotiate with doubt. Show me how to give. I'll not negotiate with doubt. Show me how to plant this good seed. Ain't no sweat. In fact, the Bible said if you got a sweat, just keep it. Go buy you a Happy Meal. And I promise you, you won't be happy. It's just a matter of you recognizing the Holy Spirit is in me. You know, a lot of people ask the question, well, why does it seem like some people are more anointed than others? They're not more anointed than you are. We all have the same Holy Ghost. They just may be more aware of him than you are. And I'm asking you to become aware of the presence of God in your life. Become aware of the voice of God that's ready to minister to you. Become aware so you begin to live your lives in concert and in fellowship with the Holy Spirit. So giving is not just this thing you bucket plunk with. It's strategic. It's listening to him, because you're about to change somebody's life that you won't even know maybe until you get to heaven. That's why they call it faith. And then at the same time, something that's going on in your life. I remember Brother Jerry Savelle preached a sermon on the man with the pitcher in his hands, pouring into a bunch of empty cups. You know, there's coming a time in your life where you got to stop walking around with empty cups, waiting for somebody to pour, and you got to become the man with the pitcher in your hands, ready to pour into other empty cups. Amen? Praise God. Father, we thank you so much for this opportunity to release the supply that you have put on the inside of us. We thank you, Lord, that we are led by your Spirit. We thank you, Lord, that in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, your presence is our prosperity. And in Jesus' name, the budgets, which one needs to be met, is met tonight, right now, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And so we just praise you and thank you for it now. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. And everybody said, amen. Brother Tim's going to come and give you some instructions.
All right. If you are ready to be a part of this budget-busting offering,
Anybody want to be part of a budget-busting offering? How about busting your own budget? How's that sound? All right, some of the instructions are on the screen. I'll give you these as well. For those in the room, you can tap the card on the seat in front of you or follow the instructions there on the screen, as I said. If you'd like to give by check, you can make your checks payable to KCM. And if you're giving cash and would like an envelope, please raise your hand, and the ushers will get an envelope to you. All right, if you want to use our text-to-give option, you can text the word event to 36609. That's 36609. And then if you're watching online, kcm.org/event. kcm.org/event. If you want to call us, the number that you're going to call tonight is 817-852-6000. Let me give you that number again, 817-852-6000. And if you want to mail your gift in, you can mail it to Kenneth Copeland Ministries, Fort Worth, Texas, 76192. All right, everybody ready? Okay, when the people are ready, ushers, please serve the people. God bless you, everybody. We're going to have a quick song with Ray Jean and the group, and then Creflo will be right back out.
He's gone on the platform. He's gone back out the door. He's gone in the amen corner. He's gone all over the Bible.
Father, we thank you for this another opportunity to minister to these, your precious sheep. Thank you, Lord, that revelation knowledge will flow freely, uninterrupted and unhindered by any satanic or demonic force. And Father, I pray that you will speak through my vocal cords and think through my mind. None of me and all of you. Holy Spirit, you know exactly what needs to be accomplished this night. And I put my trust in you. In Jesus' name we pray. And everybody that agrees said amen. Come on, give the Lord a big hand clap of praise. If you have your Bibles, go with me to the book of Romans chapter 4 and verse 16. Tonight and tomorrow in the sessions that I have, I'll begin to talk to you about unpacking the life of faith. Unpacking the life of faith. And we're going to really milk this thing to look at it from every perspective that we can look at, because these are crazy times, and you don't have time to be shucking and jiving around. You got to know who you are and what you have. Amen. Romans chapter 4 and verse 16. He says, therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, and not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. Now, if you have that in the mirror, could you put that in the mirror? Listen to this in another translation. He says, therefore, since faith sponsors the gift of grace, the promise is equally secured for all the children. The law has no exclusive claim on anyone. The reward system cannot match the gift principle. Faith is our source, and this makes Abraham our father. So please remember something. We as humanity, you didn't invent faith, God did. He's the source of our faith. Now go to Ephesians chapter 2 and verses 8 through 10. I'm going to read this out of the New American Standard Bible. He says, for by grace you have been saved. Saved. You've been already saved from God's perspective. It's already been provided, but you don't get it except you get it through faith. And this is not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of the results of work, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, and he created us for good works, which God prepared beforehand so that we would walk in them. He prepared it beforehand so that we would walk in them. And then let me look at that mirror translation one more time. He says, your salvation is not a reward for good behavior. It was a grace thing from start to finish. You had no hand in it. Even the gift to believe simply reflects his faith. If this could be accomplished through any action of yours, then there would be ground for boasting. Unpacking this life of faith. Now, let's look at Ephesians closely here. And in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, he says, for by grace are you saved through faith. You are saved by grace through faith. And the word saved is not just forgiveness of sin. This word save comes from the Greek word sozo, and it encompasses your deliverance, it encompasses your preservation, it deals with your restoration, and it also carries the idea of your healing, and all of these things that are associated, all of the finished works of Jesus. Now look at this. It's interesting that Paul in verse 8 uses something called the perfect passive participle. And that's one of those little smart phrases, but this is what it means. It means it's a completed action. It means that you, having been saved, it's completed. Having been rescued, it's completed. Having been made whole, completed. Having been preserved, restored, this is completed. It's finished. It's done. Oh my gosh. So he says, by grace, you are saved. Done deal. Finished. Completed. I want to invite you tonight to move into the realm of the finished. It's time to abide in the finished. We've got to focus on changing our tense. Listen, of course, from God's perspective, He has provided everything that comes with sozo. He's provided everything that comes with salvation. You are saved. From His perspective, you are saved. You are delivered. You are whole. It is already done. It has been made available to you. Now, will you receive it as finished, completed, done? Because there's something interesting here. He says, by faith are you saved. Grace is revealing your identity. Grace is revealing who we are. You are saved. That's who I am. You are delivered. That's who I am. You are redeemed. That's who I am. All of the things that are a part of being saved, that's who you are. So grace is revealing who you are. Grace is revealing your identity. It came by grace. He's showing you this is what is available to you. All you have to do is walk through the door, receive it, and make your mind to live in the house. But notice what he says. By grace, you are saved. By grace, I'm trying to show you who you are. By grace, you are delivered. By grace, you are healed. And notice he says, and you got it through faith. Now, I'm thinking about this one day, and I'm thinking, wait a minute now. I just heard about this, and I don't even know if I have enough to believe this. And then I look at the next phrase, and he says, and this is not of yourselves. It's a gift. Grace is a gift. Salvation, healing, deliverance, all that, it's a gift. And watch this. Faith is a gift because it is God's faith trying to persuade you to believe what grace is trying to say about you. You didn't hear that. It is God's faith trying to convince you and persuade you to receive what grace has already made available to you. Grace has made available to you all of these wonderful things, and now somebody says, well, I don't know if I believe it. Well, God's faith is there to persuade you to believe who you are. This is about who you are. It's more than what you have. It is about who you are. I am the saved. I am the delivered. I am preserved. I am restored. I am redeemed. Your identity is the key to this whole life of faith. I know who I am. This is who I am, and I receive who I am, and he'll gift you. He says, I'll gift you with my faith so that you can believe to receive what my grace has made available to you. And it is not of yourselves. It is a gift of God, lest any man should boast. So if you run across Christians that are boasting, then that's probably a sure fact that, they're doing it on their own and they hadn't recognized what grace has made available to them. And you receive it through faith. All right, now look at this very carefully. I think I'm going to come down there so I can spit on some of y'all, because y'all looking at me like I cussed. All right, now watch this. So this describes a completed, done deal. It's a completed action. I am the healed. That's who I am. I am forgiven. That's who I am. In fact, when there's the temptation that comes to me and says, receive that offense, I respond like this: that's not me no more. Everything is going to start with you believing who you are. And grace is revealing to you who you are. And you've got to receive that. I believe that I've received, that I am the delivered. I went through cancer twice. I went through, right after the cancer operation, I had a 4-hour operation. I was down to 152 pounds. But through that whole process, Satan was working to try to cause an identity collapse. And I wouldn't let it happen. So I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd say, I'm still the healed. That's right. Now, I'm not trying to say that to convince God. I'm saying that because that's the truth. I am the healed. And now watch this, because you'll get a revelation of what Paul meant when he said, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. He didn't say that when he was on vacation in Florida. He said that in prison. And right after that, shingles hit my body, and I said, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, and I am still the healed. After that, I went and found out that blood clots were covering my lungs, micro blood clots. I don't talk about this a lot publicly, because it may be your first time me hearing about this. And I'm like, I'm still the healed. I knew the way out was to maintain my stance in the finished. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Maintain my stance in what was already finished. And so I would, I'd continue on. I mean, my wife came downstairs. She says, am I about to be a widow? I'm like, nope. Why? That ain't me. Sickness attacks your body. Somebody say you sick. No, that's not me no more. I realized during that process that my body had to catch up with what was finished. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. See, it was already finished. I just had to. It's one thing about the thing that's finished and then the actual manifestation. The manifestation wasn't there, but the truth was there. I'm the finish. And I just maintain it. And every day my body would get closer and closer to the finish. And I started operating in that I live in the realm of the finish. And you have to participate with the finished works of Jesus. You're not doing something to try to finish something that Jesus has already finished. No. You're participating with what's already finished. And I'm like, Lord, show me how to participate with what's already finished. And then he starts doing stuff. Well, I need you to do this where your diet is concerned. I need you to drink more water. Hey, I need you to get more sleep. Hey, I need you to do this. So I said, what are you doing? Am I trying to get, a body so I can pose? No. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cooperate with what's already done. That's finished, and everything else is catching up with what is finished. Well, one day it all caught up with it. It all caught up with it. Now listen to me. I had a 4-hour operation. Well, you're a man of faith. Why wouldn't you say that? Well, because you asked me that question, you obviously don't understand what a man of faith is like. It's like whatever I go through, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Whatever I go through, his grace is sufficient for me. I'm not ashamed to share with you what I have gone through, because after my body caught up with what was already finished, I can now give God the glory for everything that he has completed. Yeah. All right, let me calm down. I just got started. I'm already screaming. I really intended to come out here tonight and say, well, the book of Romans chapter 12 says this, and the Greek translation says this. I just ain't built like that. I'm from Colley Park. And I'm telling you, I get excited when I realize what God has been doing. I get excited, listen, I get excited because I can trust him. I realize I don't need to do more to get more. I just need to trust deeper. Just trust deeper. Just stay there right when the enemy thinks that I'm going to give up and cave in quick. Just trust deeper, praise the Lord. And I'm telling you, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I rejoice. When you really rest in the finished works, and I'm going to talk about it in a moment, when you really rest in it, you celebrate what's already done. You don't wait to see it before you celebrate. You go ahead and give the party right in the middle of the fight. In the middle of the fight, you lift your hands up. You dance on the carpet and dance the dust. You don't wait until you see it. I'm not moved by what I see. I'm not moved by what I hear. I am moved by the word of God. Hallelujah. I live in the realm of the finished. Come on, say that out loud with me. I live in the realm of the finished. So for some of you, you're still believing for manifestation in your physical body. Grace hadn't been suspended. Just stay in the realm of the finished. And it'll catch up with it. I'm a witness. I'm a witness. Cancer tried to knock me out twice. The reason why it can't win, because my starting line is the finish line. Y'all don't. My starting line is at the finish line. I don't go from sickness to healing. I start at healing and go from healing to healing to healing to healing. I don't start at defeat. I start at victory. And then I go from victory to victory to victory. See, a lot of people are starting at the defeat place instead of starting at the finished place. Our finish line, glory to God, or our starting line is the finish line. Let the devil know I'm not going to start at being broke. I'm not going to start at being sick. I'm not going to start at being depressed. I'm not going to start at trouble. I'm going to start with every victory that has been gotten and given to me through the blood of Jesus. That's my starting line. So if you want to fight, I'm going to tell you where we're going to start. We're going to start with I win. We're going to start with I'm healed. We're going to start with I'm delivered. That's where we're going to start. Come on, say it out loud. My starting line is the finish line. Come on, say it. I live in the realm of the finished. So, literally, you have been saved. And salvation, you know, is more than forgiveness. Salvation includes reconciliation according to Romans 5 and 10. It includes justification according to Romans 5 and 1. And here's what I like. It includes your new creation, your new identity. Yeah, let me say this. You're not a sinner because you sin. Oh, some of you shocked. I sin? Yeah, everybody misses the mark and falls short of his glory. But you're getting better and better because you have the Holy Spirit that's helping you to mature and to reach mark. But you're not a sinner because you sin. You're a sinner because of the nature you used to have. And Jesus came and set you free from that sin nature. And let me give you an illustration. If you can take a mule, treat him like a racehorse, brush him like a racehorse, feed him like a racehorse, but when you put him on the track and the gun sounds, he's going to act like a mule. Why? Because that is his nature. That is his nature, praise God. The greatest sin you can commit is your unwillingness to get in sync with your true identity. You're talking about missing the mark. When you fail to get in sync with your true identity, you're missing the mark. Who am I? And then learn how to live from who I am. And I participate in this. You know, we look at self-effort. Self-effort is effort trying to do what Jesus has already done. But effort is not eliminated from this walk. There is something I call redeemed effort. Your effort has been redeemed into participation. You participate with what has done. I can't do what Jesus has done, but I can participate with everything that is done. And I can have the Holy Ghost to help me to participate with everything that's done. Are you listening to what I'm saying? And so you begin to participate from your true identity. This is who I am. And every day I begin, when I really realized this, how important this was. I mean, we heard sermons 20, 30 years ago about who are you in Christ. But we wouldn't participate in the intimacy of it. We only wanted to know the transaction and not the relationship. You got to be in it for the relationship. You got to know God. It's not enough to know about God. You got to know God. Listen, as many times as I've faced death, you need to listen to what I'm saying. I want him. Because when I get him, there are things that are going to automatically come my way because of the connection. I want him. I want the relationship. And some don't understand it's easier for you to develop a relationship with principles than with a person. I want the person, and the principle will come because I'm connected to the person. I want the person. You got to realize, what are you in this for? I want the person. I'm not in it for what God can do for me. I'm in it because of what he's already done for me. And I want the relationship. I want to know him. I want to know him. So praying is not something that's forced. It's something that is a response. I want to spend time with him. I can't wait to spend. I can't wait to get to my closet, so I have to start talking to him while I'm driving, because this life it's about how you live it. You're not a Christian just when you come to church. You are. This is in your living. In your living. That's why. Listen. What are you learning about the life of faith if you're not going to live it? And you can't live it without the Holy Ghost who's sent to lead and to guide you into all the truth. I want relationship. I want to. I want to get away from have to. I want to. I want to pray. I want to give. I want to forgive. I want not to take offense. I want to. Aren't you tired of phony? I'm so fed up with phony. Hello, Brother Dollar. God bless you. How you doing? Well, I don't agree with nothing you preach. Well, how's that working for you? Because it's good for me. It's all good in my hood. Are you listening? The relationship. The relationship. Do you know him on an every... See, if you're learning all of these things, it's just a script for a circus. If you're not applying it in your everyday living, this stuff has got to be lived. Listen to me. It's got to be lived, because that's when the maturity takes place. When you're living it and you wake up the next day and you encounter somebody that treats you wrong. Now you can live this stuff out. Or you encounter a situation that was unexpected. Now you can live this out. And all of a sudden this faith comes out because you have this real, authentic, saving faith on the inside of you, and you're actually living it. And yes, it's giving at church, but it's also giving when the Spirit of God leads you to give when you're at the grocery store and somebody's running short in front of you, and you're like, hey, baby, I got it. What's your short? You're short 20? Well, I'll give you the 20, then I'll just go ahead and bless you with the whole thing. It's for living. You learn all of this and not live it. All you're going to do is have a bunch of books that are filled with a bunch of faith principles that you don't live. I tell you, at our church, we close the circus down and put out all the clowns. Woo, you're talking about freedom. Greatest freedom you can ever experience is the freedom you get when you're delivered from people. Woo! No longer seeking their approval. No longer needing their validation. No longer are you trying to impress somebody that doesn't care by buying something you can't afford. No longer. Because you just want to live for God. And that's what it means, taking all the things you learn at these conventions and you apply them to everyday living. Ooh, Jesus. Everyday living. Your encounter with your wife, your encounter with your children, your encounter with lack, your encounter with rough times, your encounter with all these things. I can do all things. In the midst of crazy situations, I want to acknowledge, you don't have me, devil, for I can do all things. His grace is sufficient for me. I had just got over the boil phase of the shingles I had. And I had to go teach. And Taffy said, where you going? I said, I got to go to Florida. I got an appointment. And she says, what is going on with you? Do you realize? I said, yeah, baby, I got a big shirt. And she says, well, explain to me why you're going. I said, I need to know that his grace is sufficient for me. For me. And it was. Went and preached. My body started catching up with the finished. And it wasn't too many days after that it started clearing up. And I was wondering, man, are these marks going to disappear? Right, yes. Shoot, where it was looked like the back of a baby's behind. Glory to God. Honey, when God restores, he does it completely. Amen. All right, I'm way off what I'm supposed to be talking about. All right? I'm way off of what we're supposed to be. Now, so most people, when we look at that, let's go back to Ephesians chapter 2. And we're just going to dig into this for 2 days. Ephesians chapter 2 and 8. He says, for by grace you're saved through faith. Now, most people define grace as just unmerited favor. It's unmerited favor. So much more than unmerited favor. So much more. Grace is unmerited, unearned provision. Abounding provision. Do I have slide back there to put it up, because I want you to really get this. It's undeserved, unmerited, abounding provision in the unrestricted operation of the love of God that works through Jesus Christ for mankind, especially for those who depend on him. Let me say that again. It is the undeserved, abounding provision in the unrestricted operation of God's love through Jesus Christ for mankind, especially for those who depend on him. And even better than that, grace is not a curriculum. Grace is not a subject matter to be debated over. Grace is a person, Jesus, full of grace and truth. Grace is a person. In fact, God was the only one that could bring this grace to humanity. The Word became flesh and delivered something so awesome and so powerful to us that he brought forth this undeserved, abounding provision. Grace is abounding provision, provision that keeps increasing and increasing. It's abounding provision that it operates through unrestricted love. Before Jesus died, God was restricted. But after the cross, it was unrestricted. None of your crazy can stop him from loving you. Unrestricted love that operates through Jesus to mankind. I love this part, especially for those who depend on him. I depend on him. I depend on him. Oh God, I depend on you. When I went through all of that stuff I went through, I had a experience I don't often share much. I'm going to every state in the country. I've done 20. I got 30 more to go. And I share this testimony where I don't have all of the ways to articulate this, but I was on my way from treatment, and my eyes were open. I was there, but I wasn't there. You understand what I'm saying? And I was in this little void, best way I can, where I heard the voice of God. I didn't see him. I heard the voice of God. And there was just like this little, like a curtain. You go behind it. And I was like, wow, I'm tired. And that's before I knew all of this, because if I'd said I'm tired, I would have said, that ain't me no more. And he said, son, it's not hard to pass over. All you got to do is make a decision. He said, but if you do, all you're going to do is leave behind a bunch of hurting people. And he says, besides all that, I finally got you ready to use you. All right, now hold on a minute. There's a lot of issues with that. I done traveled over 8 million miles, been in the ministry for 30 years at that time, and now you can finally use me? Well, what was all? I said, well, what changed? He says, you finally got delivered from approval addiction. He says, you no longer need validation from people. Now you can serve me. Now you can do exactly what I want you to do, when I want you to do it, like I want you to do it. Are y'all listening to me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I said, well, hold on a minute on that other thing. I said, I'm ready. He said, yeah, you're ready. Let's do it. Talk to me about some things to do. And And man, it's been the most amazing walk ever. That if you're going to walk with God, walk free from people so you can walk with God, so God can use you to help people. And I became more empathetic. And I would look at people in their situations and say, wonder what took place to get them to this place. Help me, Lord. Help me. And all of a sudden, I wanted everything about his word to be something that can be applied to make a difference in somebody's life. God is so good. I don't know why I'm sharing all this with y'all this tonight, but God is so good. Maybe because some of you need it, amen? But before, I would have been so addicted to approval. Well, I'm not going to share that. They may think this. I don't give a Holy Ghost. Bruh, I got to see Jesus one day. And besides, freedom looks good on you. Amen? It looks good on you. Now, let's see if we can get back to this subject and kind of stay there. Okay, so grace came in a person. Jesus himself is grace revealed. Grace is a person. If you try to make it a subject matter, you're going to end up going down the wrong route. It's a person. And you can see the revelation of Jesus from Genesis all the way to the end of Revelations, and you just see it being set up. You see all the things that are going on. Jesus even spoke. He said, these scriptures speak of me. And he says, and even what Moses wrote was about me. In other words, it was in shadow form, and he was going to be the fulfillment of a shadow. You know, the shadow of a dog ain't never bit nobody. But if you see that shadow, you better haul it on down the road because he's somewhere near and close to you. So, grace reveals who you are. It reveals your identity. You know, the best way to overcome temptation is to remember who you are. Think about that. The best way to overcome temptation, the best way to overcome pressure that's applied to your flesh is to remember who you are. And that's what this is about, identity remembrance versus yielding to the enemy for an identity collapse. He wants to make sure that you don't understand how powerful this is. The first place of attack is going to be on who you are. Go with me to Matthew chapter 3, verse 17, and then we're going to read on up through Matthew 4. We saw him attacking identity of Adam and Eve in the garden, but look at what he did to Jesus here. He said, and lo, a voice from heaven saying, this is my beloved son. You know, as the Son of God, I have been accepted into his beloved. Say that. I have been accepted in his beloved. You know that's who you are? You've been accepted in his beloved. Glory be to God. So every time the devil tries to get you into this little crisis of proving yourself, I have been accepted in the beloved. Now notice he says, lo, a voice from heaven saying, this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. He made it very clear. This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. All right, now watch the attack. Matthew 4, go on there. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. Tempted, tested, to try. So I'm telling you, the quickest way to defeat every temptation he brings your way is to remember who you are. Watch Jesus. He was tempted of the devil, verse 2. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards a-hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, now watch this, if thou be the Son of God. Notice the first place of attack, your identity. If you're the Son of God, well, you know I'm the Son of God. You already know this, man. If thou be the Son of God. And he shows up in our lives. If you're really saved. If you're really the righteousness of God. If you're really healed. You owe him a response. If you are the righteousness of God, I am, I is, however you want to say it, the grammar won't matter as much as you letting him to know that I know who I am. And so he says, well, if you are, now watch this, this is important. If you really are, and you really believe you are the Son of God, I'm going to sum it up. Do something. He comes up there. If you really are righteous, do something. If you really are delivered, do something. See, he's trying to get you to do something to prove that what Jesus has achieved for you is not enough. No, I am the righteousness of God because of what Jesus has already done. Well, if you really are righteous, do something. Well, he's already done it. All right, now watch this. And this is what he wanted them to do. Command these stones to be made bread. If you really are the Son of God, turn the stone into bread. Now watch Jesus. Oh, I know who I am. But I'm not going to turn the stone into bread because I need any validation from you. I know who I am. I don't need to do nothing to try to prove to you what I already know about me. I know I'm the Son of God. I don't have to turn the stone into bread, glory to God, because I've already been accepted in his beloved. I'm already the Son of God. Turning the stone into bread is not going to make me more the Son of God. And the same thing with you. He said he's been made for you righteousness and wisdom and sanctification and holiness. He says, I've made all of this for you. It is available to you. You don't need to be trying to do something to do what's already done. It's no different if I come in here and say, sit down, and you're already seated. And I am insisting, sit down, and you're seated. After a while, you're going to look at me like, what's the matter with him? You're already seated. Well, heaven's doing the same thing. I gave you my son. He shed his blood. He did for you what you couldn't do for yourself, and then gave it back to you as a gift. And you dare try to say that what he did was not enough? So you're going to try to add to it because I don't really, and that's the issue, I don't really believe that I'm righteous. I'm the righteousness of God. I'm the righteousness of God. Well, that ain't what I saw last night. Well, that ain't me no more. That was a dumb decision, but I'm still the righteousness of God. You didn't look so holy last month, and I'm still the righteousness of God. See, you got to understand that falling is a part of walking, and walking is a part of running. And you got to understand you are on a journey. You are on your way to a place where you are not there. From heaven's view, you're already there. But then from this practical view, I'm participating, and I'm on my way to do something. The Holy Spirit is helping me to do what needs to be done. Some of y'all act like y'all don't ever fall when you walk. What do? If your baby falls, he's trying to walk with you, beat him because he fell, because that's a part of learning how to walk. Well, some Christians do that. Well, you fail. I can't participate in fellowship with you no more because you fail. Well, you fail too, but we just don't know you fail, or you just think you only fall when you do the big things. But it ain't no big and little sin. All sin, listen to me carefully, all sin has the same measure, but they do have different earthly consequences. Do you understand that? Sin has earthly consequences. Yeah, but I'm under grace. And under grace, sin has earthly consequences, number one, and they also affect people differently. And then there's an accountability thing. Well, I mean, if you're the head apostle, then you're impacting more people. Sin has consequences. But watch this. But the consequences will never be without his mercy. What do I mean by that? Grace is not going to excuse the consequence. But it's sure going to be working hard to try to soften the blow. What are you talking about? David, look at what David did. David, look at David. Peeping Tom David. Lusting after another man's wife to the point where he had that guy killed. Now, there were some consequences, but not nearly what he deserved. Because mercy was at play even in the midst of the earthly consequences. It's all over the Bible. So please don't think, well, under grace you escape earthly consequences. There are consequences for your decisions you make. So don't go around talking about, well, under grace I can get away with it. You ain't getting away with nothing. Not that God trying to get you, but he was just saying, you know, please wake up and understand that you don't want to just, how are you affecting on somebody else's life? Well, I tell you what, I caught this guy molesting this 5-year-old and I'm just going to pray for him. I'm calling the popo. Because he need to go to jail. Now y'all looking at me funny. Well, that doesn't sound like grace. That's because you won't understand it. Uh-oh. But remember, your facial expressions don't move me because I'm delivered from your facial expressions. They don't move me at all. You can facial express all you want to. I'll facial express right back at you. All right, now, let me keep up with the time. Now, this brings us to a very, very important place. Grace reveals who you are. And Satan will attack that because there's something about when you have an identity collapse, it takes you back to condemnation. Yes. It takes you back to shame. Yes. And under shame, you go into hiding. Shame causes you to hide. Adam and Eve sinned, and after the sin, they went into hiding because of the shame. I think I said this last year when I was here, that the fact that they hid themselves because they were afraid that God would see them differently. But the issue was not how God would see them differently. The issue was that they are now seeing themselves differently. And it caused you to go into hiding. Because you had an identity collapse. You got to know who you are. In your worst day, you cannot back into fear, back into shame. Can't do it. Now, it feels a little awkward and different, but that's why I'm saying, like, this is what we practice, Taffy and I. Get up in the morning. It's automatic now. It's automatic. I remind myself every day. I am the righteousness of God. I am forgiven. I am redeemed. I am accepted in the beloved. I am holy. I am everything the finished works of Jesus says I am. I am healed already. I am prosperous already. I have wisdom already. I have the guidance of the Holy Spirit already. And I just keep going until I want to stop. First thing I say in the morning, last thing I say before I close my eyes and go to sleep. Oh, Father, thank you for this day. Thank you that I'm righteous. Thank you that I'm doing. What am I doing? I am participating in what's already finished. God's not going to do your praying for you. God's not going to do your confession for you. And listen to this. You're not confessing to try to get God to believe you. You're confessing because it's the truth. That's the truth. I am delivered. That's the truth. Yeah. Ain't no little magic going on. Well, I'm going to say this 200 times and then maybe something will happen. Well, how long is it going to take you to saying that before you believe it's the truth? It's the truth. That's why I say it. I'm trying to get myself in line with the finish. That's what rest is. Rest is coming into alignment with what is already finished. That's what rest is. Maintaining alignment. And when a storm of life shows up to knock that satellite off alignment, you sing, you praise, you meditate, you do what you do to get back in alignment. The enemy's trying to knock you offline. Get back in alignment. No matter what storms come, it'll stay in alignment. My lights ain't going off because I'm in alignment with the finished works of Jesus. What are you doing? You are resting in the finished work of Jesus. I mean, the greatest faith in the world is resting in what's already done. Amen. Not what I feel, not what I see, not what somebody said, but what Jesus finished. My faith is to lay hold on what he did. Faith for the finished. I'll show you either tonight or tomorrow, but when one faith, God's faith, you can remember Brother Hagin saying this, you can remember Brother Copeland saying this when they went to Mark 11:22. You remember when they I think it was the Rorel translation, A.S. Rorel translation, and they identified something was going on with the Greek translation that moved it into faith in God. And the right one was the faith of God. And you remember Dad Hagin and Papa Copeland over and over and over again. Have faith, have the faith of God, or have the God kind of faith. Why? Because it was God's faith. Watch this. Herein now, oh, glory to God, that the righteousness of God is revealed from faith, God's faith, the source of faith, revealed from faith, God's faith, the source of faith, revealed from faith to faith, the recipient of faith. Oh, y'all don't understand that. The righteousness of God is revealed from the source of faith, God, to the recipients of faith, you. And now that you've received the measure of faith, not a measure, because if it's a measure, that means it's another measure, and now there are degrees of measure, but God dealt to every man the measure of faith, from faith, his faith, to faith, the recipients of faith. Now you live by faith, but examine that faith. That faith is God's faith, delivered through Jesus, and that faith came from God to man, and now you don't have a flawed faith. You have a faith that is perfect, a faith that is finished, a faith that is done, a faith that cannot be done. Have the faith of God. So every time I think about, ooh, look at what I'm using. I got the very faith that caused this world to be what it is today. I got the faith that can manifest healing that's already done. And the thing the devil hates to hear is, it's done and it can't be undone. It may feel like it was undone. It may look like it was undone, but it can't be undone because I'm not operating. Listen, mankind did not invent faith. God is the source of my faith. And I am the recipient of that faith. And with that faith, I can receive what grace made. Because grace makes and faith takes what grace makes. And without faith, I can't be the beneficiary of what grace has already made available to me. I hadn't eaten dinner yet, and I am smelling chicken. Baked, of course. Fried preferred, but can't mess with that no more. All right, now look at this. Is everybody on the bus? I mean, I know I've been, dear God, I've been all around. You on the bus? Anybody from the Grace Gang in here tonight? From Grace Gang, yeah. All right, now listen. I am headed somewhere. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 in the King James and then the Mirror. 2 Corinthians 5:17. And I'm glad I got another session so I can go back and fix some of this, you know, and put a little bow on it. It just don't work like that for me. I go in with a page on Sunday and it end up being 2 months of teaching. I'm like, Taffy, like, what happened to the page? I said, I don't know. I'm learning how to just go with the Holy Spirit. And that's what our life, the victory of our lives in these last days is the advantage we have. And the advantage we have is the Holy Spirit leading and guiding us. It ain't the Holy Ghost seeing if we can have a circus at church. It's the Holy Ghost leading and guiding you when you leave the church where you came to get edified and built up. You come here to get edified and built up. And you know, yeah, you can have a good time. Ain't nobody saying that. Don't make it into a law. You can have a good time and stuff like that. But you go out there so you can say, Lord, what do you want to do through me today? We've got to mature as the body of Christ. You can't be the same old immature baby as you were 10 years ago. Well, I'm mad at you because you didn't speak to me. What? What is this, the third grade? What are you talking about? Well, why you didn't call me? Because I didn't want to. Me and my wife was playing Cowboys and Indians that night. I didn't want to talk to you. Do I have to explain to you every time we play Cowboys and Indians? I'm not doing that. Y'all pray for me. Praise the Lord. Just pray for me. All right, now watch this. All right, watch this. Whew. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, underline in Christ, because to be in Christ is to share in his accomplishments. Whatever he's accomplished, to be in Christ is to share in his accomplishment. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Now, look at this in the mirror real quick, and now I want to show you a little illustration. Now, in the light of your co-inclusion in his death and resurrection, whoever you thought you were before, in Christ, you are a brand new person. The old ways of seeing yourself and everyone else are over. Therefore, acquaint yourself with the new. Become acquainted with the new. All right, it was God who placed humanity in Christ. All right, now let me show you something here. What does it mean to be in Christ? All right, here's an envelope. This envelope represents Christ. And here's Benjamin right here. All right. So Benjamin finally got saved. And when Benjamin got saved, he got in Christ, sealed with the Holy Ghost. And now watch this. So from this point on, whatever happens to the envelope happens to the Benjamin that's in the envelope. So if I mail the envelope to the Yang Pang Tang Sea, Benjamin going too. If I take the envelope and stick it in the trash, Benjamin's going too. Whatever happens to the envelope happens to Benjamin. In Christ, he died, we died. He was resurrected, we resurrected. He ascended on high, we ascended on high. All right, watch this. He was seated on the right, I almost went Baptist, on the right hand of God. Woo. Almighty. And when he was seated, I was seated. So why do you keep asking the question, am I going to heaven? Well, is you in the envelope? Where is the envelope? It's seated with him. Whatever happens to this envelope happens to the Benjamin that's in the envelope. You are in Christ Jesus. You share in the accomplishments of everything that has been achieved by Jesus. He's righteous. So you don't think you done did something so bad where you ain't righteous no more? Here's all you need to do. Hey, Jesus. Yeah. Well, I don't want to do that because it gives the picture of distance, and you're not distant. So let me show you where I'm really. Hey, Jesus. Because he's in you. Hey, he's in you. You are one with him. Hey, Jesus. You all right? Yeah, I'm all right. You still righteous? Yeah, I'm still righteous. What was that saying? So you are too. You are too. The enemy has a plan for identity collapse, but he will not succeed with those who walk by faith in the finished works of Jesus. Just not gonna do it. But you got to understand who you are, and you must understand that in Christ I celebrate what he's accomplished. I share in his accomplishments because I'm in the envelope. Oh, that thing will preach. I'm in the envelope. This morning we're going to talk about, are you in the envelope? Somebody said, I'm in the paper bag. Is that good enough? I don't know about no paper bag. Are you in the envelope? I share in his accomplishments. Now let me show you something, because remember, the quickest way to overcome your temptation is to remember who you are. This is all about remembering, identity remembrance. Identity remembrance, especially when you are pressured to go back to something that's not you anymore. Well, are you offended? Well, that's not me anymore. I don't take offense. Well, you're lusting? No, that ain't me no more. I don't do it. You participate in that. You do that. I think some people think that God's going to do everything for you. My God, hadn't he done enough? You want them to do your praying for you. You want them to do your fasting for you. And I learned fasting doesn't change God. It changes you. It repositions you. Well, I fasted for 30 days. It don't take me but one day. 2, 3 meals, I'm ready to say, yes, sir, I'm in line. I was on my way to preach for this guy out of the country, and I got a call once I finished in one place, and they called me and they said, well, we're going to have to cancel that meeting. I said, why? He said he died. I said, well, what happened? He said he was trying to fast more than 40 days. I said, see, that's a good example of trying to do something to get what Jesus already got. He wanted some more anointing. It ain't talking about no more anointing. Just become more aware of the Holy Spirit that's living in you right now. Amen. See, we play these little games. Well, and then we tell people about it like, you know, we're trying to be humble, like, well, you know, I fasted for 20 days, just water. I'm going to say, well, you know, I ate for 19. Just barbecue sauce. And I'm not you know, I'm not demeaning, you know, that, but I'm going to say, you know, say what I want to say. You know, you know, some people are going to have a problem with you anyway. Some people, they working on how to take you apart anyway. They just mad at you anyway. Bless God, I don't agree. That's fine. We can agree to disagree, but we ain't got to fall out over it. Come on, that part. I thought you was my friend. We disagree. We're doing the same thing. I just ain't told you I disagree. Because we gonna be all right. Ain't nobody got it perfect. That's right. Just do what you believe, and God will straighten everybody up when he get way. But anyway, you remember the hunger pains. You remember they shouldn't have been talking about that food. See, that's what I get. The boy who was threw himself in the fire and drowned himself, and the father, went to his disciples to help him, and they couldn't help him. Now, they should have been able to help him because they have cast out demons a lot throughout that. Should have been able to do it. And so Jesus came and cast the demon out of the little boy and got him delivered. And immediately the disciples like, hey, Jesus, psst. How come we could not do that? Cast the demon out. He answered them and he said, because of your unbelief. And then he continued, this kind cometh not out except by prayer and fasting. And for generations, the church thought he was talking about this kind of demon. I mean, think about that. Somebody needs the devil cast out on you, out of them, they come to you, cast the devil out. Oh, I need to go pray and fast before I can do it. Hold on for 3-4 more days. I got to go pray and fast. Then after I pray and fast, maybe I'll be able to do it. He ain't talking about, you have authority over the devil on your worst day. You got authority over the devil. He wasn't talking about the devil. He was talking about unbelief. This kind of unbelief cometh not out except by prayer and fasting. What happens is unbelief got you out of alignment with what was finished. So pray and fast to participate in getting back at your rest, getting back in alignment with what's already finished. You've done it before. What happened? Something came and, well, I tell you what happened. He saw all the stuff that boy was doing. And they're like, ooh, that's a rough demon right there, boy. So I'm saying Let me show you this. And my times, they gave me 90 minutes. I'm like, 90 minutes? I'm like, oh, bruh. Y'all sure? 90 minutes? And my wife be like, don't take all of it. I'm like, if they give it to me, I'm gonna take it. And then next year they can decide, well, we don't want him to do no 90 minutes no more. Oh, no, give him 45. Because I'll take whatever you give me. I go to a church and preach. How long do I have, sir? He says 45 minutes. I'm going to preach 45 minutes right in the middle of a revelation, in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of the power of God. I'm like, 45 minutes, I got to go. And it never fails. Oh, no, go finish what you was going to make your mind up. 45 minutes or now, what we got? All right, John 15:4. John 15:4. Sharing in his accomplishment. So everything Christ achieved becomes ours through union. Union. Now watch this. Abide in me, and I'll abide in you. Now let me say one thing about abiding. Abiding is not, it's not spiritual activity. It's spiritual awareness. Abide in me. That's spiritual awareness, not spiritual activity. So what is it that we need to be aware of and to practice this spiritual awareness? Abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it practices spiritual awareness and abide in the vine, become aware of my connection. Abide in the vine, no more can you except you abide in me. Verse 5. Okay, well, maybe not verse 5. I probably didn't give it to you. But anyway, so here's the deal. He says, I'm the vine, you're the branches. All right, now listen to me. This is humbling. But you ain't nothing but a branch. Quit trying to be the vine. You a branch. A branch is similar to a mannequin in the store in the window. You're just displaying what they put on you. You don't see that branch doing nothing. I mean, you don't see that mannequin doing anything but. You're a branch. That hit me one day. Wait a minute. I'm a branch. And first I was kind of getting like, well, dog, I'm just a branch. But now look at this now. Look at this. The vine supplies everything that the branch needs. And even when the part of that wine grove, if that thing is down, the guy knows how to lift it up and bear it up so it can get sunlight and live. He didn't cut you off. I think the Greek word there is airo, A-I-R-O. He bore you up. Now think about this. It's the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit that belongs to the Spirit. I'm a branch. I'm connected to the vine. I have built such an awareness of that relationship that I have a relationship with the vine which means the struggle has ceased in my life. Why? Because I realize who I'm connected to. And as the branch, I receive from the vine. Whatever I need for each day, the vine will make sure that I have it. Glory be to God. Oh, I need patience. The vine sends me patience. And I can display the best version of myself because I recognize that I am in relationship with the vine. I am aware of my connection. I lack nothing. I have the Holy Ghost on the inside of me. I am anointed. Therefore, there is no pressure, just response. What do I need? I'm connected to the vine. Now, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to, as the branch, start acting like the vine and start trying to force the vine to give you something because you just want it now. Stop doing that. Just learn the spontaneity of the Holy Spirit. Learn to live a life, and when he says move, you move. You're responding. You're responding to his voice. When he says prophesy, prophesy, you're responding. You don't go out there with the pressure. I got to prophesy something. I got to prophesy something. I'm a prophet. I got to prophesy something. You finna mess up. And somebody in the crowd gonna know it. Oh, the Lord just showed me you live at 8885 the Glendale Drive, da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you go to shouting and screaming. He just told you where you lived at, and he got that off Facebook. What are you doing? I'm connected to him. Watch this now. I have relationship with him. He is my source. So I have access through relationship to anything I'm going to need in my living. And he knows what I need every day in my living, because every day I go to him and say, Lord, whatever you want to do through me, do it through me. So purpose is already settled. What do you want me to do? You're going to start asking him, and you're going to start doing certain things, and you're going to start bumping into your purpose, because you're going to notice the similarities of the stuff he's having you to do. It ain't hard to find that out. It just requires a relationship with the vine. You're my source. I depend on you. I need you. I can't do this by myself, and I don't want to do it by myself. Things are changing. Things that we used to do 45 years in our church, it's not doing that now. So we called a vine branch meeting. And I told the leaders, don't come here with an AI document. I don't mind you using it to help you out, but I need a HI document, a Holy Spirit. I misled it, didn't I? HS document. And I had one guy came in, and it was like he was reading the script, and I was like, I remember I was in a board meeting with Oral Robertson. Some guy came in and started reading, and Oral Roberts hit the desk and said, bless God, I can read. I didn't come in here to hear no much reading. I came in here to hear what the Holy Ghost said. And then he called my name. Brother Dollar, stand up, tell him what I'm talking about. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Listen, what is he saying? What is he releasing on your branch? Every time I go somewhere, somebody says, oh, we want you to start a church. And I said, my church starting days are over. I don't want to do no starting days. What I want to do is I want to take what I learned and understand and apply it in some living situations. Yeah. So I met a family over in Bali, and the father was dying of cancer, and he was worried about his family. And he said, I didn't get a chance to serve it like I wanted to. And I said, I got you, man, I got you. You know, over there, money ain't much, so I built him a big old house that was big enough for how many family members they wanted, and paid for the whole thing. And then I said, that was fun. I think I want to do a whole neighborhood. Lord, what say ye? Because I don't want no good ideas. I want God ideas.
Amen. That's good.
If they're just good ideas, then you got to go and beg God to bless it and anoint it. But if they're God ideas, they're anointed when they get to you. Amen. That's what it means to be connected to the vine. That you're getting something that's already prepared and flawless. I'm ready to make adjustments. I got a middle daughter. She is Creflo Dollar with a dress on. And I just recently realized that. I just looked at her and I said, boy, you act just like me. She's pretty fascinating. She's a producer. She was working for Capitol Records. She won 2 Dove Awards, 2 Grammy Awards, 2 other awards, and then she called. She said, I ain't got nothing else to do here. What you got? I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? I'm the branch. You're the vine. Flow from you, the source. Put it on my branch. That's grace. I'm depending on him. Not what I did, not how I did it. What do you want? Yes. We're unpacking the life of faith. Yes. And in this life of faith, it's a total dependence on God. Le ne krikse de gigolumona da lambe vish nonorugurisna la krasita kandurubopa la geshe de bam bandurubo sheketaba. Butch, it ain't over with yet, saith the Lord. For there are many that have resigned and quit because they thought, well, I'm just too old for this. But I'm about to refresh y'all. And I'm about to put a fresh velour on y'all. And you'll begin to dream about ways of doing things that you never thought about before. And the power of his presence will get upon you so much, you'll find yourself like a crybaby. Every time you get with him, you're just crying all the time. Well, that's just God saying, I'm freshening you up for what is to come. And there'll be no need for you to worry because I'm going to cause you to run. And when you run in the joy and the happiness that I've placed upon you, oh, great God, you'll see him bring you through. And in everything that you encounter and everything that you see, understand, in these last days, these things will be of me, saith the Lord. Amen. Praise God. Praise God. Now, you just respond to the Holy Spirit in you. Ain't no pressure in that. Ain't no pressure in that. Hallelujah. Ain't no pressure. Well, what time is it? I got to go eat. Ain't no pressure in that. Glory be to God. Amen. Lift your hands up. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus, every hand that's lifted, every hand that's decided to depend on you and to trust you, I thank you that the Spirit of God that's in them begins to flow out of them at the very tips of their fingers, that they'll begin to notice a tingle of the presence of God that has been with them all these days. And Lord, with these hands, use them in a mighty way in these last days with these hands. Use them to heal and to serve with these hands, oh God. May the power of God work through them to change humanity. In the mighty name of Jesus, I declare and agree with you now, that your connection with the vine, if she has supplied and will continue to supply all that you'll need, don't worry, throw that away. I got you, saith the Lord. These are about to be mighty days, and he'll work through your hands. In Jesus' name. Say out loud, I live in the realm of the finished. In the name of Jesus, all that has been done, I receive it by faith, and I will live this life of faith that I might obtain all that grace has made available to me. I am a believer. I believe your word. I believe the finished works of Jesus. And I declare that all is well with me and my house. In Jesus' name. Now, I want you to stand up and celebrate the finish. I want you to celebrate the finish. I want you to celebrate the finish. I want you to celebrate the finish. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Come on, I want you to celebrate the finished. Woo.
All right. Thank you, Brother Creflo. I think we'll let him come back tomorrow. What do you think? All right, real quickly before we let you go, I want to talk to you about evangelism. We have evangelism training here all week, every day, at 8:15 a.m. and at 6 p.m. Twice daily in room 110 here in the convention center. So if you ever wanted to learn about evangelism, and Riley Stevenson is one of the best there ever was at evangelism, he will be training you every day. So please, if you want to do that, we would love to have you come do that. We also have baptism services coming up this Saturday. We're going to let you register for that. There's a QR code right there on the screen. If you want to be a part of the baptism on Saturday, we had 99 people last year when we did this, okay? Almost 100 people got baptized here at the convention center last year. We're believing for, how about twice that many, right? Let's just have 3 or 4 times that many. That'd be great. So you can sign up for the baptism there. We want to take also a moment to recognize our partner, our presenting sponsor, Andrew Womack Ministries, for their support of Southwest. Yeah, give them a hand. For their support of the Southwest Believers Convention. We are certainly grateful for their partnership, their friendship, and their support. Also, if you have not already, make sure you stop by the exhibitor booths out there in the central area. We have some wonderful organizations set up. We encourage you to take some time throughout the week to visit them. Now, if you have a testimony, we want to hear your testimony. You want to go to the partner booth out there in the exhibit hall, go to the partner booth and tell them that you have a testimony. They'll let you fill out that card because we would love to hear your testimony, so stop by the partner booth and do that. Tomorrow morning, Bill Johnson and Creflo Dollar will be back tomorrow morning. So we're looking for that. And, of course, our Victory Takeover program starts at 8 a.m. here local time. So if you're watching on the network, make sure you're up and ready to watch the network at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. All right. That's all we've got. How about this? Until tomorrow, remember this. God loves you. We love you. And Jesus is Lord. Have a great evening, everybody.
Accepting